Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the founder of the Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101. And I'm the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. Today, I'm going to be talking about the No Tax on Tips Act, or more generically, a lot of people refer to it as the One Big Beautiful Bill. Sadly, that's not me, but the official name of it is S.129. We're going to talk about what that does to your business, and we're going to try to get rid of some of the bad information that's already out there for something that isn't an official rule or regulation just yet. And before we get into that, I want to remind you guys we're going to be a part of the Food Truck Owners Expo this year. That's July 15th and 16th in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm going to be giving 2 classes there. I'm going to be kicking off the campfire sessions on Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'm also going to be out on the main expo floor as a part of my National Street Food Vendors Association booth, where you guys can come, sit down, talk to us, ask any more questions that you have, and just get to know us and have a really good time there in Las Vegas, Nevada. Again, July 15th and 16th. Go to FTOexpo.com, place your order for those tickets today, and when you do, put in the code FTTG15 for a 15% discount. So now let's talk about this new bill that just passed the Senate, but I do know that they have to reconcile the bills because both sides of Congress have slightly different bills that they approved. So now they got to negotiate, come to an agreement, create that single bill, then send it to the president. And of course, there's a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers, some food truck builders, and other people that are out there giving information about this bill and stressing it's no taxes on tips. And that's not entirely the case. Like most things, when a YouTuber gets involved or somebody that's more interested in clicks than they are getting out good information, they give you titles and clickbait headlines, don't really care whether you get hurt in the process or not. So let's do some clarification. So what I want you to think about is if you have crew people, or even if you're just the one working all by yourself, or just you and your spouse working all by yourself and you're keeping all the tips. You're thinking, oh, free money, it's awesome, it's great. Well, here's the first thing they don't talk about. The Senate version, at least, lets tipped workers, so that would be you as an owner if you're the only one working, and we've already had discussions about when you cannot be a part of a tip pool, and that's when you have a single employee. But let's say you don't have an employee. You're allowed to deduct up to $25,000 a year of reported tips. So if you have an employee, same thing applies to them. They are allowed to deduct the first $25,000 worth of tips that get reported to the IRS. Now, that doesn't mean they don't report them. It also means they don't report the tips to you. It's not like it's free under the table money. It's still being recorded. It's still being tracked. Here's the kicker, though. It's also being taxed. Just not income tax. But you're going, but Bill, what other tax is there? You as an employer, whether you're paying the tips to an employee or multiple employees, are still responsible for payroll taxes. And that includes that $25,000 that they get to write off against their income tax, but they don't get to write it off against their Social Security and Medicare, which is known as the FICA tax. So you're still responsible to pay half. They still are responsible to have that deducted from their paycheck, so they still have to report the tips to you. And since it's a food truck environment where there's going to be a single tip jar, your employees should not have their hands in that tip jar ever. You should be the one counting it to record the accurate information, because if they're dipping their hands into that tip pool saying it's our money, which is true, it is, but you're still responsible for paying the taxes on it, the FICA match that all employers have to pay. That's why it matters to your food truck. Now let's talk about a couple of different what ifs. So let's say you've got a taco truck and you've got an employee, and that employee reports they have $22,000 worth of credit card tips. They've gotten that information from you since you're the one that controls the credit card processing and gives them then the $22,000 in whatever form you give it to them, whether it's on their paycheck or you turn it into cash at the end of the day and give it to them. Either way, it's still got a paper trail of $22,000, and then they collect $8,000 in tips out of the tip jar. So that's 22 plus 8 is $30,000 for those mathematically challenged people that aren't keeping up. The first $25,000 annually is tax exempt, but it's not reporting exempt, so they still got to report it. So on her income tax, the first $25,000 is tax-free, but then that remaining $5,000 is taxable for income. Also, the full $30,000 is going to have FICA taxes withdrawn out of it, so it's still being taxed. It's just not income tax, and that same match from the FICA employer side is being paid by you. So it's not free money. It's not what the YouTubers are out there saying, oh my God, this is awesome free money. Yay, yay, yay. There's already been at least one food truck builder put out a video that is incorrect. They should stick to building and showing how awesome they are at building rather than trying to advise people on things that they're not clear on. So here are the potential pitfalls that you need to understand so that you can help make sure you don't get yourself or your business in trouble and you don't have your employees get in trouble. Because I can assure you, when the IRS comes knocking at their door and saying, hey, you owe us money, they are going to turn you in quicker than butter melts on hot pavement in July in Florida. So train your crew. That's the first step. Train your crew, train your team on accurate tip reporting. Now, you're the one telling them all the information. We have it easy as food truck owners. It's not like we're a table service where they can go pick up tips off their table and we don't ever know about it. So we know exactly how much they're making every single day in tips. But train your crew. Whatever you give them, they're responsible to report because you're going to be paying FICA tax on that, which means you're reporting it. And if you're not, you need to talk to your accountant. You need to talk to your payroll company and get yourself squared away, because at some point this is going to come back and bite people that haven't been keeping up with these taxes. You want to run monthly reviews. You want to check your POS reports against your cash drawer counts. If the numbers don't line up, dig in before the year ends, because at that point you'll be in panic mode when you see how big the number discrepancies could be. So what does that mean? And honestly, you should be doing it every single day. You want to balance your cash drawer? Yes, duh, you need to. How much you bring in credit cards? How much did you bring in cash? Does that match what your POS system says you did in sales? And then you should have a line where it says cash tips, a line where it says credit card tips, and just keep that total running all month long. Super simple. There should be no shock at the end of the month when you do the monthly comparison. Oh, yep, they balance like they should. If you put off the paperwork because, oh my God, it's a 14-hour day and I'm tired, I need to go to bed, you got a problem. And that problem will only magnify because it becomes easier and easier for you to put it off and procrastinate because, oh, I'm tired, I worked hard, and I deserve not to have to do this. When are you going to play catch up? One of my friends a long time ago used to point out that you can't ignore keeping caught up. Because if you're too busy to do something, when are you going to find the time to do it later? Communicate with your staff. Let them know that they can save on their income taxes. And again, that's income taxes up to $25,000. They have to report their tips honestly. Now, I'm sure many of you are going, well, my employees aren't making $25,000. Well, that doesn't matter if they're making over $25,000 or not. What matters is that they keep accurate records to prove. Because remember, you have to pay the FICA match, which means there's a number going to the IRS that they know what that employee should be recording on their income tax. Have an action plan. Here is a 3-step action plan. Update your payroll settings. Make sure that once this law is signed and they establish the commencement date, whether it's immediately or July 1 or next year, you've got to make sure that your payroll settings are updated if you have software. If you don't have software, make sure that whatever company is doing your payroll is updated, and then talk to them. So update your settings, talk to your company. You want to have a tip reporting workshop. Explain to your employees why they should be reporting their tips, and then also the consequences of not reporting, because remember, you are reporting them because you have to. You have that FICA match. Monitor monthly. So set up a calendar reminder to do the tip reporting against your actual receipts, making sure that there's a balance. And like I said, it should be done every single day. It's not that hard. Talk to your payroll company, talk to your accountant, talk to somebody that can help you to understand why this is important to you and your business if you plan on being in business more than a year or two. Now, there's one last thing that I want to say about this. When you have those monthly meetings with your staff, when you go to do your training with your staff, you've got to explain to them how this impacts their future and why it's important that everything get reported now. So a lot of the YouTubers and a lot of the videos that are out there don't even talk about the FICA match. That's Social Security. Because you got a whole bunch of people that know better but still like to spout off the propaganda of Social Security won't be around when I get old enough to take it. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I can tell you for a fact it will be. The only way that it won't be is if there's major changes in the budgeting system and the way that Congress is going to handle Social Security. Right now, it's all automated. You're going to get it. They're going to put money into that system. They have to. Now, could there be changes? Yes. But unless those changes happen, there will be money when you go to retire. Why do I say that with such authority and such confidence? When I started working in 1977, people were whining back then, oh, the trust fund's going to be bankrupt in 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. Nobody will be getting Social Security in the 80s. Then when the 80s roll around, they're still getting Social Security. Just change the dates. By year 2000, nobody will be getting Social Security. It'll be broke. 2010, 2020, 2025. Same deal. You got the politicians that want to panic people that are too lazy to go read a newspaper or to learn things. They want to panic them so they can get a vote. Vote for me and I'll make sure your Social Security still stays. No, you won't. It's going to stay whether they elect you or not, idiot. So what you got to consider is in 1977 when I started working, everybody was saying it's going to be gone, it's going to be a bankrupt. Exact same things they're saying now in 2025. Guess what Bill's been doing the last 3 years? Collecting Social Security. As soon as I hit 62, I went ahead and filed for Social Security. I'm getting paid every single month. They haven't missed one yet. Got one coming up here probably on Tuesday. Haven't missed a month. I've gotten my raise every single year because of inflation. All of that stuff is automated. If you want to be doom and gloom and say it's going to go away, then you're also saying probably the Constitution and the government as a whole is going away. I don't see that happening. So it becomes important to your employees to understand that they are impacting their future by not claiming the tips. Why is that? Because your Social Security, the amount of money you get every single month is based on how much money you made while you were working. So if you understate how much money you made while you work, you will regret it when you retire because you'll be getting a smaller paycheck. Everyone's goal should be to earn enough money to max out that Social Security payment when they retire. The numbers change every year, every couple of years. Figure out what it is right now and make sure you get your wages above that number and then retire and enjoy retirement. Don't be like some of the people that are working in their 70s and 80s on a food truck, not because they love it, but because they have to make ends meet. So teach your staff. And then make sure you set yourself up for success by understanding the rules and regulations that are involved with the one big beautiful bill whenever it finally does get signed. You're allowed to read it. You're allowed to understand it. Don't go to a YouTuber. Don't go to anybody that is more interested in content than they are teaching you, because they're only going to give you the superficial story that will get you to click on the link. Free money, no tax on tips. And they're not telling you the whole story. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding everything helpful that we do, please consider subscribing. If you love what we do, show some support. There's a link in the description to make that happen. Until next time, you guys have a profitable day.